Howdy, everybody. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves on this lovely Juneteenth. Um, I'm going to have some big news in a few weeks, but we'll not talk about that today. Today, I'd like to take a moment to talk about where folks in the industry are with regard to AI. Um, I've been blessed. I'm really lucky in this time where I'm not associated with any companies. I'm doing my own consulting thing. I'm able to have real good conversations. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything, and I think the conversations are more open and honest because of that. And what's interesting is that, and I don't think this is a surprise to anybody, everybody's at a different place in their journey with regard to AI. So some of the things that I'm doing, I'm along with Frank and Ben, co-chairs of the committee, the Insights Association Standards Committee, that's looking into any standards we should be creating around AI. In addition, I'm on the steering committee of a conference that'll be announced soon in the how in terms of how people are using AI in market research. And what I've found from these things is that people are in different places, and I'm surprised at where we're at. Not that we're behind where I think we're at. It's just when you look on LinkedIn, when you look at articles, the focus primarily has been on the generation of insights through AI. We did a workshop at the Insights Association's conference back in, I guess it would have been March at this point. So a few months ago. And we had lots of questions. We had lots of participants. It was wonderful. One of the things that I thought going in is that the conversation was going to be centered around the generation of insights and where we're at on that and how we can do better there and what standards we should have in terms of output. What I found, and certainly there was some discussion around that, but people were very interested in AI as an enabler of efficiency in the process, in the operations arena. Much more discussion on that than what I thought there would be. There was lots of discussion on contractual information. How do we make sure there's transparency in what our vendors are doing, what we're doing? How do we make sure that there's oversight in what AI is doing in the process and making sure that it's right? So that's one side of the equation. The other one, as we're on the steering committee for this conference on AI and market research, it's a wide variety of people who are on the steering committee. And what's obvious to me is that the different parts of our industry are in different spaces. Some folks in the CPG space are very far advanced. CPG has always been really good when it comes to AI. There are, and what they want for a conference of the sort that we're looking at is different than people in other parts of the spaces in the sort of general merch side of the space, which isn't as advanced. They're still looking at what are the possibilities. The amount of testing hasn't been done to the level that it's been done by many in the CPG space. On the supplier side, it's really about what tools can be developed in terms of making life easier for the clients. I had two really great discussions this past week on synthetic data and what are the possibilities with regard to synthetic data. Many of you heard me talk about this. I think the term synthetic data is unfortunate. I do think that If we called it imputed data and just said we're figured out a better way of doing it, I think that does more justice. I think some of the problems that we're having with synthetic data are perceptual. Clients think this is new, think that this is, just we're making something up. As long as you have some baseline information, and that gets to my concern over the use of synthetic data in some of the applications that are being proposed. As long as you have a baseline, we've been utilizing imputed data. The government's been using it since the 80s. They in the data sets that they're actually putting out, you'll always see an imputation flag. They're using often a very simplistic form of imputed data, but it's there. So it's not a new thing. I think, though, by calling it synthetic data, we have made it into a new thing. And unfortunately, we've forgotten that there are a lot of learnings that we've had along the way with regard to imputation. In particular, we know how to calculate expected variance, which if you don't, you're just doing a single imputation without any variance calculations, you're basically pretending like you know the answer. You know what the missing data or the persona is exactly of that person. And you can do a pretty good guess, but it's not the same thing as knowing. And so one of the big things in imputation has been, let's go to multiple imputation, and therefore we'll be able to calculate a variance. I think something like that's got to happen for synthetic data in order to make it approachable, make it understandable, and make it more accurate for respondents. Both when I was teaching and in some talks that I've given, I leave folks with the idea that synthetic data for augmentation, filling in some holes here and there, is wonderful and actually should be pursued. I do have to say, synthetic data as a full data set replacement, I still don't think we're there yet. Now, I can be surprised. I think the space of AI is moving very quickly. But again, unless you have really strong baseline information, it's tough. So I've done some experimentation, and I can actually show that it works in many cases, but these cases are very static. We don't expect trend changes, things of that nature. And if I was just going off of those sort of cases, which I find to be the most uninteresting cases to folks in market research, you can, say it works really, really well. But as soon as you start deviating from those cases, the full data set imputation, I don't think is there yet. Will we get there? There's a really good chance we're going to. But again, you got to have something behind it. You got to have some more baseline information. But as long as that's understood, I think you can get there. So what we need, and I think this is the direction that we're going, is we need to support AI throughout the industry in a variety of ways. Until everyone's in the same place, I don't think there's a one size fits all approach. I think there are companies in the industry where you're just learning about AI. This isn't the exact same thing, but I think with smaller and medium-sized companies, they're not going to be building a lot of the applications themselves. They're going to be, buying from various companies. I think some of the larger companies will be building it themselves. And I think there are positives and negatives. But I think you need two tracks. I think you need the buy it and build it tracks, or the use it and build it tracks that will illuminate. And the way you approach it is different in each of those cases. The resources necessary is different in each of those cases. So we need training. We need a large registry of companies that can provide solutions for those companies that can't build it themselves. And then we need some form of guidelines for, if you're going to build it yourself, how do you prove that what you've built is accurate and good? And it's not, I don't think this is, my wishes. I think for clients to buy things, they're going to need to see it. Again, I've been really concentrating on the synthetic data space. So there are some really great solutions out there. Again, I'm more on the augmentation side, but they're really intelligent people working on it. Clients aren't buying it at this point, at least not in large scale. I think they're more testing and doing that. Until they have confidence, they won't buy it in a large degree. And so it's really providing confidence to your clients. So AI is going to be with us, going forward. I know I have my persona, the AI curmudgeon, and I keep explaining to people, it's not that I don't believe in AI. I think AI, which is, by the way, a concept, it's not a thing. We use the concepts of artificial intelligence to provide, to inform methodologies that then create products. But I am super hopeful for where we're going with regard to AI, but I'm concerned. One, a lot of things I see are people who are going beyond our capabilities today. And they're trying to get people to buy on the hope of the future. I think if we get too far ahead of ourselves and start promising things that aren't available, we will actually damage the progress that we've made. Generative AI isn't new. Other AI techniques are not new. But they've had a big explosion into the marketplace. And in particular, one of the great things about it is that it really has freed up funding to do even more, to go even further. And I think because of that, we are in a good space. Now, if people start to be disappointed in what's out there, think that the promise far outweighs reality, we're going to take a step back. And so with regard to that, I hope that we are able to talk about AI concepts, AI methodologies based on artificial intelligence in a way that's realistic, in a way that it allows us to move forward with confidence and really see where we can go. Anyways, and one of my quicker Bremer research moments, but I just wanted to get out there and say there's a lot of great conversation happening around AI concepts, AI techniques, AI methodologies, AI-based methodologies. I'm super excited by where we're at, where we're going, and I can't wait to see where we end up. Anyways, thanks, guys. As I said, this week we're actually going to get the first round of my course. The first week of my course will come out, and stay tuned in the next week or two, and I'll give you some really exciting information, news that I have. Anyways, take care. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.